Hi, this is DarkFox127 and welcome to another Skyrim Creation Kit tutorial video. In today's video I'm going to be showing you how to add custom dialogue onto your own actor. So for the purpose of this video I'm going to go ahead and create myself a new actor. So I'm going to call him one of my favourites, Barney Blue. And I'm going to give this an ID, df_actor Barney Blue. And then give him his name, Barney Blue. And when dealing with quests, you can set them a short name that quest will use. I'm going to tick him as essential, unique, and I'm going to make him a Breton. And just confirm that. Now, before I go ahead and give him a voice type, because this is going to be custom dialogue, I need to create my own. So I'm going to go under character and voice type, alt-click and new. Bring this to the middle so I can see it. And create my own custom voice type for Barney. So df vt Barney, and make sure it's male. And I'm not going to tick that box there. Click OK. So now I'm going to go back to my actor. Give that a few seconds. And under voice type, I'm obviously going to select the one that I've just gone ahead and made. So click OK. The next step is that you're going to use quests to create the dialogue. So I'm going under character and quest, alt-click and new. Now quests have this really weird little bug where you need to give them an ID, confirm them and come back in before half the information shows. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that. So make sure it says Barney and we'll go with dialogue. Just confirm that first and then reopen it. And you'll see you get a load more options. So the quest name, don't need to really worry about. I'm going to set it as 30 for the priority. The event I'm not going to worry about either. And I'm just going to untick the run once, which is by default. And make sure that start game enabled is ticked. Now miscellaneous is what you can set for the type, but you don't really have to do this. Quest dialog conditions, you can set an entire collection of conditions for all of the dialogue that's going to be within this quest, or you can do it individually, which is how I prefer to do it. So I'll see how we make sure that only Barney's going to say this shortly. So you don't need to worry about quest stages, objectives and aliases because we're not actually creating a quest, we're just using this to create the dialogue system. So I'm going to go under Dialog Views here, and a useful thing to do straight away is just to tick the show all text at the bottom because you'll be able to see everything nice and clearly when we start creating a dialogue view. Now before I carry on, I am going to mention that anybody using the new 64-bit of the creation kit for Skyrim Special Edition may come across a problem where you have a few errors show up and dialog views don't seem to want to work and it comes across as broken. The fix for this is to edit the executable, just change the compatibility mode and set it to run as administrator. I'll make sure there's something representing that on screen now. That should fix that issue for you, but I would strongly recommend that you just continue using the old creation kit and port everything across. But anyway, let's continue on. So dialog views, I'm going to go ahead and create my first dialog view. Now you can of course have this set to just Barney's dialogue, or you can go ahead and add dialogue for different actors. So you'd make different dialog views for everyone. So you do say Barney, Brian, Bob, Margaret, whatever. So I'm going to go ahead, create my first little dialog view. And you'll see that it gives it the name of the quest by default. If you try and accept this, it's going to moan at you saying it's not a unique ID. So you want to go underscore and add your own bit to the end. So I'm going to put DV for dialog view, and then we'll go with Barney. Let that create that. Select it, alt-click, and you can go ahead, create your first branch. So we've got DF quest Barney dialogue. It's done the same again. So I'm going to go underscore branch, and I'm just going to call it branch 01. And I find that it just puts topic on the end for the name of the topic. That's absolutely fine. I don't mind that. And then you'll see you get this nice little box. Now this stuff's going to represent your dialogue. It's going to be laid out really nicely and it's very easy to work with. You can use your scroll wheel to zoom in and out. Really useful, especially when you start dealing with a lot of different dialogues. And one thing I'm going to mention is that if you find that you need to go ahead and move your mod somewhere else, go mod on a different machine, and you need to take your files with you, make sure that you go under your data folder in your Skyrim directory and go under the folder Dialog Views, and you'll see that my latest modified file, so if you sort by date, you'll see that my latest modified file is in fact this one. The time now is 10 to 3 in the afternoon, and this pretty much near enough matches up the one that I'm currently working on, because this is really the only way that I can distinguish what my dialogue XML file is. This just basically stores the layout of the dialog views. So if you weren't to have this and you went ahead and, say, wiped your machine and had backed up your mods and such, and you're putting them back on, you load up the creation kit, and for some reason you've lost this file, you're going to find that all of your dialog views are bundled together and it's a complete mess. So just be aware that this file is created and it stores all of the information that's in the dialog views box. Really handy to know. So I'm going to go ahead and create my first bit of dialogue. So I'm going to double click into here. And I get my topic. So this is what's going to show up as a dialogue option. So let's go with how are you? Just click in this box here, give it a few seconds. A lot of the quest stuff can be very slow. You'll have to be patient with it. Alt click and new. And we can set up our first response. So in the response text, you have a maximum of 150 characters. But if you need more than that, you can just add multiple responses and they'll play one after the other, unless you set certain things up. So response text, I'll have... Actually, let's keep it simple. I'm fine, thanks. There we go. Not going to be very law friendly and such, but never mind. Script notes and edits you can just leave. The idle animations is where a lot of the fun comes in. Anyone that's watched my recent Twitch streams will know the sort of fun I've had with this. Speaker is the one that we need to play with. Listener you can kind of ignore. So if you type in the word idle, anything that starts with idle is pretty much going to work. Although with idle animations, they can be a little funky and certain things just don't like to work. Or you'll see that some seem to be set to specific actor types. So you need to be careful. Obviously, Barney's not going to be able to start lying down like a dog, is he? So that's not going to work. So just pick one that you think might work and that might be appropriate for what he's saying. So if I wanted, I could have idle laugh and he could be laughing as he's saying it, so it'd be like fine thanks, or whatever you might want. So you can set that up. I'm not going to bother for just this little bit of dialogue. Now you've got emotion type. This is really nice, so we can have him super happy when he's saying this, and we can set a value between 1 and 100 in terms of how strong the emotion on his face is going to be. You can have other things, of course, like anger and disgust. This really just adds some nice immersion in and gets across the way they're really feeling. Now, before we go ahead and start recording any audio, I'm just going to confirm that first. Now, we need to make sure that this dialogue is only going to show up for Barney. So I'm going to alt-click and new in conditions, and I like to set these conditions individually for my different dialogue options. So get is ID is what shows up by default. That tends to be fine. And I'm going to go ahead and select Barney. So give this a few seconds. Like I said, some of this is quite slow, so find my ID for Barney there and keep everything fine. So is equal to 1. So this is true basically. And this is going to make sure this dialogue is only going to run on Barney. And you can go ahead and set up other conditions if you like. So you can say get is the time, or you can have certain dialogue that shows only if somebody's died. You can get really creative with this. There's tons of different conditions here that you can use. Just be careful with what you're using and make sure you're setting it up correctly. So what I would recommend is that you set this one first, get your dialogue working, check in game that it's all running fine, and then come back and you can start setting up conditions if you need things to be only showing at certain times. So it's really going to depend on whatever dialogue you're setting up for whoever you're setting it up for. So now that's set, I can go ahead and start recording my dialogue, and you'll see that this is going to go ahead and generate a file name, which is quite good, and it's going to have this set up for this voice only. So it's got the voice type in there. So with this, what it'll do, it will select your default device usually. So in my case, it's my Blue Yeti microphone, which is a fantastic mic. Some people are going to be picky about the audio quality of voice recording, so it's good to pick up a nice microphone if you've got the coin. But if not, don't worry about it. Just use whatever microphone you've got and try and tidy it up later on if you wish. So a lot of voice actors are going to say you're better off sort of recording in a program like Audacity or something, and then sort of overwriting the file that's created here, make this a blank file and just do it professionally. I find this is perfectly fine. It's good enough for me. I'm quite happy with it. I get good quality out of it, so I'll just do it through the creation kit. So that's the method I'm going to show today. Now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to go ahead and record this. What you can do is obviously configure. I'll make sure that this is selecting my Blue Yeti if I want to. Hit OK, and then it'll ask for a quality. Just leave it as whatever the default is. I don't see a reason to change it. And I'm going to go ahead, click on this, and hit record. I'm fine, thanks. So then I'm going to go ahead, hit save if I think that was okay. You'll see that's created that now. And you can go ahead and preview it.
I'm fine, thanks.
There you go. So I'm fine, thanks. Perfect. So I'm going to click from WAV, make sure this is selected, and I'm going to do what is called generate a lip file. This is one of the awesome little technologies built into the creation kit, which is really quite impressive. So it picks up the audio that you've just recorded and it makes the lips move to it, and it does it quite well. So give that a few seconds is what I tend to do. Should have generated a lip file. Now I'm just going to go to where it's going to actually store these audio files. This is something that we're going to be messing with a little later on in the tutorial, but I'll just show you where the files are first. So under data, sound and voice, and it will create a folder under the name of your quest. So in my case it's DF127 quest, and then it will have a folder for the voice type, and it will create two files. You'll have a WAV file and you'll have a lip file. So you've got the WAV file,
I'm fine, thanks.
what we'd recorded, and then the lip one that it's created off of that. Now, later on, like I say, we're going to have to do some messing with this. We're going to have to fuzz these up. We're going to have to create a fuzz file, but I'm not going to go into that just yet. So there we go. We've got one there. We've got a number of different options here that we can set up. So we can have this say once if we really wanted. So once he's sort of been asked how he is, you can't ask him again. I'm going to leave that. I'm going to have goodbye instead. Now, goodbye means that as soon as he's said that, it's just going to cut the conversation off and all the dialogue's going to end. And then you'll have to re-engage dialogue with him again if you want to speak to him again. So I'm going to have that as goodbye. It's the sort of thing that you can just have cut off. You've got other things like for subtitles. I'm not going to go through all of these. You can, of course, go ahead and check out the Creation Kit wiki for details on all of the options in these things. So just use the search box. You've got these two, which are quite useful. If you want different responses, so it mixes it up, so he's not going to say exactly the same thing every time you ask it, you can go ahead and have random. So I'm going to set that up now. So this is one of the random things he says, and I'm going to do another one. Not bad at all. There we go. So neutral's fine. Go ahead, confirm that. I'm going to click OK. And what I tend to do is grab this condition, copy the condition, go back in, paste it in so I don't have to keep setting it up. It's on my clipboard now. Have that as goodbye as well. That's also random. And then I'm going to go back in, set this up again. Not bad at all. Hit save. From WAV, generate a lip file. And once you get into this, you'll be making dialogue like crazy. You'll be making all sorts of dialogue quite quickly. Okay, now I want to make the last one that can be said. So I'm going to make another one. So it could be better today. And this time he's going to be a little sad. So quite sad actually. I'm just going to confirm that. Paste my condition that I got on my clipboard. Goodbye, random, and this is going to be the last one. So random end, and it's going to go between the three. So I'm just going to go in, record that. Could be better today. Oops, a daisy, did that twice. There we go. So from WAV, generate the file, and OK. Okay there, confirm everything. And now you'll see it's all laid out quite nicely. You can extend these boxes and play around with them. Now, before I go into branching things together, we are going to hop in game, mix things up a little, and we are going to see this dialogue working. But before we do that, I'm just going to confirm everything and save. Now, this is going to work, but only after you save and reload. Now, one of the updates to Skyrim, I believe it was somewhere around update 1.6, I always forget which one it is. They introduced the SEQ file, which is something you are going to need before your dialogue's going to properly work. It's to do with quests not firing off properly to begin with until you load your game up, and we don't really want that. So I'm just going to minimize this, and I'm going to load up Xedit. So if you don't know what Xedit is, it is a very useful tool. It's great for cleaning mods and making edits to mods. It can actually create entire new mods and such. So I'm going to go through here. I'm just going to go ahead and tick quests. So you're going to want to go ahead and download this. I'll make sure the description has the link. So I'm going to go ahead and load up my ESP. Depending on how big your mod is, this could take seconds or not long at all. Thank you, Creation Kit. That was useful. And I'm going to load this up. And you'll see you can change all sorts of things here. This isn't going to be a tutorial on Xedit. I'm just going to click on my ESP here. Oh, click, other. And I've got create SEQ file. So tick that. If you tick messages there, you'll see that it says it's created one. And if we go to my data folder and go under the SEQ folder, if there wasn't an SEQ folder already, which there was for me, it will create one. And you'll see DF127 Quest SEQ. Now you've got your SEQ, that's going to work perfectly fine when we load up the game. So I'm now just going to go ahead, reload the creation kit and get my actor in game somewhere, and then I'm going to save it, and then I'm going to hop in game and show you. Okay, so here we are in game, and we've got Barney Blue. So if we talk to him, could be better today. He looked pretty sad, so the emotion stuff was working. Ask again.
I'm fine, thanks.
Now, for some reason, one of these, it seemed to pick up my webcam mic for some reason, but that's fine.
I'm fine, thanks.
So if we can keep asking him, we'll try and get the third option.
I'm fine, thanks.
Oh, for God's sake, come on, game. Could be better today. Well, there is a third one, but it will randomise through all three, so that's how you get that working. Now we're going to hop back into the creation kit, and we are going to try setting up different branching dialogue. Okay, so here we are back in the creation kit, and I'm going to go ahead and create a new branch, and we're going to have some sort of branching off dialogue. So create new branch. Name this branch 02 and topic. Drag that under the other one. Let's extend this out a little bit. Double click into here. And I'm going to go ahead and do some topic text. Do you have a book I could borrow? Couldn't really think of much else. So we'll have a response to, yeah, sure. Which would you like? And keep that for now. Should have that condition still. Nope, it has not stayed on my clipboard, so I'm just going to copy that condition. Make sure it's on this NPC and say it. Copy that condition. Not going to be goodbye because it's going to lead on to another branch. Okay. And then I'm going to just right click within the branch, not outside of it, within it, and hit add topic. So then the topic text, it's going to be the selection in the dialogue. So let's say it's just going to be a book on alchemy. And then the response as, here you go. And an example of the idle could be idle give. And we'll do happy 65. Paste that condition in again. And then this time it's going to be goodbye. So it's going to cut off an end there. And not a unique. There we go. Just keep aware of that topic situation. So give that an ID. I'm just going to drag this across. You'll see that this is now a grey box. So this is something that this can link off to. Now you can do this in one of two ways. You can go into here and sort of add a link and select which one you want to link to. Or you can do it the more user-friendly way, and you can just sort of, whoops-a-daisy, let's break that string. You can drag and drop, in a sense. So you click, hold, let go, and you can link it that way. Now, obviously you can do what I just did when I made a mistake. You can break the line and all sorts. Now, it can get a little bit confusing when you get a lot of dialogue boxes, but if you keep everything spaced out quite nicely, it shouldn't be too bad. So that's one. We can go ahead and add another one. So this is going to be topic book 2, and we'll have a book on smithing. It's not the best dialogue in the world. It's not making all that much sense, but it just gets the way of doing things across. Here you go. Idle give. And we'll just do fear for fun, just to see how it changes up. Paste that condition, and that is goodbye as well. So yeah, I'll go in and I'll just quickly record some dialogue for this. Here you go. Generate a lip file. Go into this one. Do the same. Here you go. From WAV. Now, obviously, you'd want them to give the book, and you can add little fragments for scripts and such, but I'm not going to be showing you how to do that today. I'll probably do that in another video. What we want to do here is link this to that one, and what happens now is this branches off to 2 separate options, and it can branch off even more, and you can go crazy with the links and stuff, but that should be absolutely fine. So I'm going to go ahead, click OK, and save that, and then we're going to load up the game, and we're going to see our new dialogue. Okay, so the final part of this tutorial is going to be to do with making sure that your lip files and your audio files for your voices are going to work correctly when you pack them up into a BSA and get them uploaded with your mod. So it's all working for us, which is perfectly fine, but if you were to upload it in its current state, you would find that the lip files probably wouldn't work and their mouths wouldn't move if you were to pack it into a BSA. Now, Skyrim actually uses a file type of fuzz. So if we just go into CTR, you'll see that I've got these all packed up as fuzz files. This includes the lip file and the actual file for the audio for the voice. So if we go back, we'll see if we go into DF127 Quest and Barney, you'll see that they are all separated out between the WAV and the lip files. So we need to get this fuzzed up. Now, luckily, there's a fantastic tool on the Skyrim Nexus. The link will be in the description. So if I go under my tools, it's called the Unfuzzer. And if you load this up, simple executable, click on here and you navigate to your directory. So it's already gone some of the way there for me. So if we go to DF127 Quest and just click on my folder for my voice type and hit OK, we can click refuzz. This can also be used, of course, because the name of the program, to unfuzz files. So if you want to grab any files from the vanilla game and sort of unfuzz them, get to the WAV file and the lip file, you can do so. But for this, we're going to hit refuzz. And depending on how many files there are, it might take a minute or so, or just mere seconds for me. And it says that 7 WAV files were successfully sorted out. So if we go back, go to sound, voice, Quest, Barney. And as you can see, they are packed up into fuzz and should work fully when we pack this up into BSA. Now, if you need to know how to pack things up into a BSA, I have a great video, which is at the top right of the screen now. You can go ahead and watch that. That'll make sure you get everything packed up all nicely and things will work fine. And of course, you want to make sure that your SEQ file is also included so you don't have any dialogue mess ups and issues with starting the quest. And that is it for another Skyrim Creation Kit tutorial video, so I hope you found it useful. Please let me know in the comments section below. I am, of course, probably going to go into other stuff, such as generic dialogue and adding little scripts to have your NPCs interact with you in other ways, but that's for future videos. You can, of course, check out the rest of my work over on my website at www.darkfox127.co.uk, and also check out my social media and such, where I'm always posting announcements and things like that. Also, come ahead and join the Discord. It's a great little community we've got going on with well over 100 members now, where you can share your mods, get help with mods, and just generally talk about Skyrim and anything else in the gaming world. Hit that like and subscribe button if you haven't already. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll speak to you next time.